Hi, so in today's video, we are going to talk about another sector which has a potential to deliver multi-bagger returns. This sector is the electronic manufacturing sector in India. The electronic manufacturing sector in India or EMS has seen a significant growth. Starting from 50 billion in valuation in 2017, the sector has grown to $101 billion in valuation now. And with the rising income and spending power of Indians, we expect this segment to grow more. India is also trying to become an exporter of electronic manufacturing. There's a lot of government push influencing this sector. So all these forces together are leading to a big surge in the electronic manufacturing segment. So in this video, we'll try to understand the electronic manufacturing segment, understand what are the key companies and segments in this industry, why this industry is growing, what is the global potential of this industry, and where we are going with this in India. So stay tuned for a very interesting session. So let's understand the value chain of the electronic manufacturing sector in India. The domestic production of electronics is valued at 101 billion in India, and there are various segments that contribute to it. The biggest contributor is mobile phones and mobile devices, which contribute 46% to the EMS industry. After that, we have consumer electronics, industrial electronics, as well as electronic component manufacturing. Finally, we have auto electronics, wearables, LEDs, medical electronics, and so much more. So now let's understand some of the key players in each of the sectors that use electronic manufacturing. The first sector that uses electronic manufacturing is consumer electronics. Here you have mobile phones, tablets, wearables, and so many other electronic equipments that we use in our day-to-day life. So the biggest player in this segment is Dixon Technologies, and if you look at the performance of this stock is having an amazing run. The stock has delivered close to 200% returns in the last 1 year, and its 5-year CAGR is at around 94%. Along with this, we have smaller stocks like MIRC, Sharp India, which are also part of the consumer electronic manufacturing in India. Now, the second set of stocks that we will look at are in the computer and IT hardware manufacturing. So here you have companies that manufacture personal computers, servers, as well as networking equipment. The biggest name in this segment is NetWeb Technologies. If you look at the performance of NetWeb Technologies, the stock has rallied close to 180% in the last 1 year. And this stock seems to have a big, major chunk of the market and tends to get a lot of global contracts as well. Along with NetWeb, you have smaller companies like TVS Electronics, HCL Infotech, and many other players. Thirdly, we have telecommunication equipment manufacturers. Here you have companies working on mobile network infrastructure, routers, and other components. Then we have the industrial equipment manufacturing companies that are working on industrial equipment systems as well as robotics to automate the work in the industries. Here you have very interesting stocks like Honeywell Auto, which is one of the biggest stock in this segment. Then you have stocks like Cyient DLM, Sembra, Aimtron, and many other stocks in this segment. Then you have stocks in automobile electronics. Here you have companies involved in infotainment as well as navigation systems as well as electronics in the engines. So stocks like JBM, Motherson, Bharat Forge are some names in this particular segment. Then we have medical devices. Here diagnostic equipments, pacemakers, and other medical devices are manufactured by these companies. Here you have stocks like Polymedicure, which is very well known in this segment. You also have stocks like Nureka, which are gaining a lot of attention. Finally, we have stocks in the defense and aerospace segment. These stocks are involved in avionics, radar systems, as well as communication systems. Here we have stocks like Bharat Electronic Limited, Astra Micro, Data Patterns, and others. Now let's try to understand the types of EMS companies. There can be full service EMS companies which are involved in design, manufacturing, as well as distribution. Then you have EMS companies which are only involved in the design. There are EMS companies that are only involved in manufacturing, and there are others which are only involved in the after manufacturing process. There are key concepts like OEM and ODM that you will hear a lot in EMS segment. In the case of OEMs, the brand designs and gives very clear specifications on the implementation of the electronic system, and the EMS companies manufacture the components based on those specifications. So the example for this would be Apple Apple being the brand that owns the IP for iPhones, but Foxconn being the EMS company that manufactures these iPhones for them. Second category is the ODM or original design manufacturers. ODMs are companies that will take the full contract, which means that the client does not know how to design the component, but they need it in their life cycle. So the EMS company would design as well as manufacture that component. A very well-known name in this segment is Dixon, which is the original design manufacturer. There is also a very interesting concept called HVM versus LVM in EMS industry. HVM stands for high volume, low mix. What that means is that these companies will manufacture that component in high volumes, but they don't have a lot of diversification, as in they only manufacture very small set of components. So these companies are involved in mass manufacturing of electronic equipments, but they only work with very specific set of equipments. So example here would be a TV manufacturer or a washing machine manufacturer that only specializes in that segment. The second set of companies are LVM or low volume and high mix companies. So these companies will manufacture small amounts of a wide mix of components. Here you'll have companies that are involved in specialized equipments like medical manufacturing or industrial manufacturing. Now let's talk about the global EMS industry. The EMS industry is a massive industry worldwide with more than $500 billion in valuation. Very interestingly, the global EMS industry is dominated by only a few players, and most of these players are in fact in Asia. Here you have big names from Taiwan like Foxconn, Wistron and Megatron. Then you have Singapore-based Flex and China-based BYD and USI, which are major EMS players. Each of these companies have a wide production capability, a lot of expertise and a huge supply chain to distribute their products. China has emerged as the undisputed leader in the EMS industry, and a substantial portion of global production comes from China. There are various reasons due to which China is a leader in these industries. Number one is the low cost. Products being manufactured from China come out to the global market at a low cost. Secondly, there's a government push. So the government of China is pushing for China to become a leader in the EMS industry. And finally, there is a huge infrastructure and ecosystem in China that supports the growth and manufacturing of EMS equipments. But very interestingly, since the last 4-5 years, there's a wave of China plus one. Due to geopolitical concerns and disruptions, various countries are now looking to move their manufacturing out of China to countries like India and Mexico, which are now emerging as the global manufacturing hubs of the EMS industry. Now let's focus on the rising star in the EMS industry, which is India. India has huge potential in the EMS industries, and there are a lot of growth drivers that could lead to growth of the Indian EMS industry. The first growth driver that we will talk about is the growth of the domestic economy. India is a huge consumer market due to the prevalence of the 5G network, digitization. There's a huge need of electronic equipment in the domestic market itself. Secondly, due to the China plus one strategy, companies are moving their EMS plants to India. Indian manufacturers are getting those contracts, and that is leading to the emergence of the EMS industry. And finally, there are government initiatives, the Atmanirbhar Bharat strategy, the PLI schemes, which are incentivizing companies to manufacture EMS components in India. Obviously, while there are a lot of positives for the EMS industry in India, there are also a little bit of challenges that the company has. First challenge that EMS has in India is that there is a limited eco-space in India for the EMS industry. There's not a lot of expertise, and it's emerging industries where people are still learning. Secondly, with the EMS component industry, India has to compete with very aggressive costing coming out of China. So we don't have the flexibility to price these components at a higher rates because of the cost competitiveness. So that was our quick overview of this emerging EMS industry in India. India has a potential to come out as an EMS leader and become a recognized name in electronic manufacturing in the global markets. And while this happens, we would see many emerging companies come in and some potential multi-baggers for the Indian audiences. So if you liked our video on the overview of this growing EMS industry, please go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and share it across with all your friends. And do let us know in the comment section what topics you would like us to cover next. Try out picking stocks from this emerging industries and happy investing.
Investment in securities market are subject to market risks. Read all the related documents carefully before investing.